Anyway, and finally working on the fabrication on the Lexus exhaust, and by that I mean I've cut up a bunch of pieces, completely removed the entire exhaust besides the headers and the little down pipes that I have welded up to the headers. That's the only thing that's left, and that's where we're going to make our connection from our driver side to passenger side, and then we have that little kick out on that piece that we've made. We have 2 flex pipes that we need to weld up as well, and then we need to start thinking about what location we're going to choose to make the switch from 2.25 to 2.5 inches on the exhaust, and then from there we're going to be working in the front of the engine, trying to get it to go from the bottom up. We're at full droop, can't get a finger in there at all, so this should be as far, or maybe a little bit more, as the suspension will travel. This does look really good lowered. I actually do want to lower this car, but that's another issue later. With this fully lowered or compressed, how much space do I still have? Is that control arm going to run into the exhaust even though it's riding along the frame? I don't think so, but we're going to get underneath and take a look at that right now and check it out. Okay, so we're trying to go, exhaust is going to come up here somewhere. This is full tilt, so this doesn't go up that much further, and even if it did, even if this could go up any further, I mean, this is a pivot point right here, so it's going to travel more here than it will here. The only thing that I'm concerned about is, does any of the steering components, well, not really steering, but does the shock itself move closer in when you turn the suspension? I'm thinking it doesn't. This is fixed in place and the shock is attached to this, so this little gap area here on the outside of the subframe should be fine. The only thing I'm worried about again is whether or not any of these suspension components are going to touch it, and I doubt it because of how much room there is and how the suspension is designed. So we could run, or at least in theory, an exhaust through here. Now this is the driver's side. We're actually going to do it on the passenger side. All right, so just want to show you guys a little bit of what's going on. These exhaust pieces, of course, are some of the used exhaust pieces that were on the Lexus. This one we created kind of from scratch, not really. This is our little kick out. That's going to be what travels around the subframe and to the front of the engine up top into the turbo. This part here is going to be the passenger side inlet. This is going to be where the driver's side inlet comes in. They're going to come both out of here, route through and around a couple of things, and then go into the turbo. We need to figure out some measurements. So what we're going to start with is getting a V-band welded to the inlet on the passenger side. We will mount it physically to the car, and then we will take some mock-up pieces and mount those, and then we will tack them in place, come back inside, weld them up, and that's going to be our flow. Is this hot? No, not really. This has been kind of sort of cleaned up on the edges, the V-band surface, the clamping surface, and the mating surface. Well, not the mating surface, it's fine, but the clamping surface has been cleaned up. Most of the spatter is gone. It's actually really smooth. Very careful to try not to take off too much material so that we still get an even clamp. But this is the piece that we're going to weld onto this, and then we're going to go clamp that onto the car, and we're going to mock up our pieces from there. Now I'm going to go mount this up and see what we're looking like. Everything is fitting up nicely. Even the turbo, now that I've made this cutout, is sitting a little bit lower, so we might not have to cut any holes in the hood. I'm really considering getting a separate trans cooler so that we can get rid of these lines, or not get rid of them, just relocate them to a better position. Still got plenty of room in the front to do something about that. Plenty of room. Problem is it has no gas, and I only want to run it so that we can get out any debris that is left behind or that might be left behind from the exhaust that we've welded up to this point. Right then, so we just got the gas. Probably spilled about a gallon all over the side of the car. That's fine. Don't look at any of that. It's fine. It's fine. The crossover section is done. The kick-out section is done. We're now working on the section that goes through the suspension. So this entire exhaust project is kind of figure it out as you go, figure out the angles as you go. We have a rough idea, rough estimate of where things can go and how things need to be cut. But it's really just a bunch of cut, fit it, test it, cut it some more, fit it, test it, weld it, cut it, fit it, test it, you know, the whole process. So I'm going to put this down, I'm going to get to work, and I'm going to show you guys the finished results. Sun's going down, so it's time to get some of these welds done. Found the perfect location for our exhaust hanger. It's going to sit right up in there. You can see downpipe going into the crossover, other downpipe going into the crossover. The kick out is right here with the little flex pipe in it being held up by our exhaust hanger up there. Got a little bit of extra thread we got to cut off from here. Goes through the suspension where nothing is touching, and this is full tilt. The wheel can't go any further up into the body. It's already touching the fender actually. So this is as far as our suspension goes. Now I will mention we do have to do a turning test, meaning we turn the suspension full lock left to right and make sure nothing's hitting there. And then we come down into our 2.5 inch pipe here, which looks like it's touching our dampener, but it's not. We got about 3 millimeters of space between that, and then it goes straight up. We still do have quite a bit to do. We got our fuel system that we have to do. Once we take care of all that, we will be ready to get this thing on its first drive. It still runs. I've started it a couple of times just to make sure that it still runs. Kind of know what I'm doing, kind of. But yeah, we did do a lot of measurements and a lot of testing to make sure that nothing was going to hit the exhaust with the route that I chose. So we're in it. We're finally doing it. We've got the exhaust fabrication is going so smoothly. That being said, I definitely want to thank you guys for watching. This is where we're leaving off. We just have to go from here to there. We need that adapter piece, and then we got our wastegate, and then this adapter, and it's going to go, you know, the whole thing. And then we got fuel, and that's pretty much it. I mean, we're pretty much done, and that's all going to be in the next video. So again, thank you guys for watching me build this. This has been very fun. I'll see you guys in the next video.